Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Blacadian universe. I am going to, be honest with you. The world is wild right now. There is a lot going on, but I'm going to do what my people do best is I'm going to make the best out of the situation with humor. I'm going to find my joy. Um, but, you know, while still making my point. So, what I want to talk about today is advertising, specifically like inclusive, diverse hiring, advertising. And yeah, I wanted to share my thoughts on the matter. So, let's get into it. So, I, I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm ready to purchase something, especially in, these times when it's more important than ever to support, um, you know, Black owned businesses and, small businesses. And here in Canada, Canadian businesses, one of the things that I always look for, and this is even before this, was how inclusive was their advertising? It's just, it gives me, does anyone else do this? Like, do you not scan through their ads from like, the past to see if it was inclusive? Am I seeing any black faces? Am I seeing any brown people? Am I seeing any black people? Am I seeing older people? Am I seeing, people that, with disabilities? Like, what am I seeing here? Like, I need to make sure that I don't see just, frankly, a lot of white people. Like, I want to know, are you interested in, having representation, represent hashtag representation matters. Um, do you welcome people that look like me into your establishment? Okay. This is like this, do I want to, am I going to, is it going to be a surprise? Okay. When I show up there, are people going to not know what to do when I show up there? These are the things that I, as a Black woman, am curious about, that I look for when I'm about to, give establishment my hard-earned money. Does anyone else do this? Or is it just me and my crazy friends? So yeah, like we, of course, my friends and I were talking about it, and we were like, 100%. We are scanning that page. We are scanning their ads. We are making sure that they like Black people. Okay, if they're not Black owned, if we are being, forced to, go to an establishment that is not Black owned, um, we want to know that, frankly, my people are welcome there, that you thought to include me. And I think that's super, super important. I mean, I I don't know, some people will say, "Oh, well, it's just." Well, the problem is that I have with this is that people will see that and say that I'm being exclusionary. And I'm like, they excluded me, okay? I'm just looking to see myself represented. And I know if you're listening, if you listen to some of my podcasts, you'll know that I say that it was a big deal. It was a big deal when, especially here in Canada, like a lot of the things were like, whitewashed. I'll be honest. Like when I saw an advertisement as a child, and this was, frankly, it was the first time I saw it, was like an American television station, was I saw like a toothpaste ad with a Black family. And I was like, what? Like I literally, it was wild in our house. Like we were like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, and unless we're like in Barbados, we didn't see Black people being represented just for like everyday household items. It was always white people. And if you're a white person, it probably does not resonate with you. Like we had to see a product that was specifically geared towards a Black person, like, hair products, like, then we'd see Black people on the ads and everything like that. But it was shocking to see like a black person in a toothpaste ad where I had previously never seen that before. And it was exciting. It was wonderful. We brush our teeth too. We need toothpaste. But the fact that that company, thought to say, yeah, let's just have some black people, that was revolutionary at that time. It seems like a little thing, especially now, seeing like a little black baby on some diapers or, just things that are not geared towards black people specifically, like for the black community, just to include us on these products that, a white person will be going in and picking up that toothpaste and buying it, just having a black face on it matters. It matters to a kid like me, it matters to families like me, and this is the part that a lot of people are missing. It matters to white people too. It matters that despite a history and a legacy of trying to dehumanize us through our enslavement and, all of the propaganda around how we're so unworthy of equal treatment and, humane treatment. A little thing like recognition that, oh, yeah, they're people, and that's so basic. But this is what we mean when we talk about like Black Lives Matter. The fact that we are fighting to be treated like a human being is revolutionary to some people. Obviously, if you're not a racist, if you're not, you know, if you've thought about white supremacy, then you'll know that what I'm saying is 100% facts. But those little steps that don't, you know, hurt anyone sends a message very loud and clear that we are part of your society, that we're part of the world, and we are, in fact, human beings that brush our teeth. So, the other half of this is, people will say, oh, well, nobody's really thinking about that. It doesn't really matter. What's the difference? Companies, when they're called on these things about representation, of having people represented, of diverse backgrounds, like all the various dimensions of diversity, are represented. Someone will say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Like, what's the big deal?" Um, and or I didn't even notice. Like, the point is, like, someone will say, "I didn't notice," and I was like, "Well, that exposes a whole other um, set of problems, which is you don't have any diverse people in your organization. Period." So, uh, if it went through, I work in corporate land and I know how many hands something has to pass through before it gets to, its final stages. Many, many, many eyes, many, many hands, many people have passed through it and workshopped it to make it the most appealing to everybody, the broad range of people that you want money from. You want our money, but you don't want to represent us. But so the fact that it passed through that many hands, that many eyes, and nobody said, "Why aren't there any black people?" you know, that in itself is a problem. That means that, why don't advertise that? Look inward and realize, oh, that's a problem, because I know that I would look at it in 5 seconds and say, "Where are the black people?" I think I remember um, it's such a wonderful, story that, when my kids are, looking at stories and books, and of course I'm very, very mindful of this, but I can't remember what we were looking at or reading, and it was something old, like something a little older. And the first thing out of my kids' mouths were like, "Where are the black people?" And I was like, just wipe a tear. Because, if my infant child can say that, then I guarantee you that in your organization, if there's representation of anybody, they would, that's basically not white presenting, they would say, this needs to change. that's, you don't need to understand it. Just know that you need to put people with diverse perspectives in your organization to make sure that you're doing right by everyone. That's just how our mind works. In a world when you're saturated by white supremacy all the time, it is the first thing that is going to jump out at uh, Black people, anybody that's, from an equity deserving group. You're going to see just yourself not there represented. It's just how it is. And so, having our voices at the table in the room are so, so, so critical. And, the fact that these sorts of things make it out there and don't have that representation, I know everything I need to know about your company. Not only do you not deserve my money, you're also not, your organization is far removed from where it needs to be to get there. So, I'm like, next, not getting my money. That's that's just that's just how I am. That's just how we all need to be in these trying times because we all know that boycotts work. And if you tell me loud and clear that I'm not welcome, you don't need to tell me twice. I'm out. That's just the that's just facts. Um, and so, yeah, I think I will, you know, end there on that note of just about, spend your money wisely in these times. Go where you're wanted. It's powerful. Historically, it works. We all know that, colonialism, white supremacy has been driven by money. The enslavement of Black people, a lot of evils have been committed in human history, all for money. And the most powerful thing that we can do, often how change has come about is not because of the goodness of people. We like to write history that way, or people like to remember it that way, that, people um, gave up the people that they enslaved out of the goodness of their hearts, that they had this epiphany of, basically doing the right thing, but it was not done that way. It was hard fought and, you know, it had to be um, taken from them, basically. A lot of lives were lost, and, it did come down to money. So, money, unfortunately, is power. And, spend your money wisely and send a message wisely that, you're going to do what's right. You're going to be on the right side of history. You're going to be proudly telling your, you know, children and grandchildren that you did the right thing in this time and you supported humanity, all of humanity. And, you didn't judge someone for not looking like you, and you respected the right of them to be a person in this world, um, with the rights and freedoms that you would expect. Spend your money wisely and, go where you're wanted and um, go to organizations that not only represent you, but treat you with dignity and respect and humanity. Those are the businesses that we need to support in these times. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time.